POR15 caliper paint, black. So I'm not really a big fan when it comes to painting calipers or drums. Every time I see people do it, they tend to flake. It doesn't look professional. It looks cheap. To be honest with you, I've never done it. I've only seen other people do. In my opinion, I think the best way to go about doing any of that stuff is powder coating, because powder coating, it is durable, it can handle high heat, as well as it's just clean looking. I know a lot of people have used the caliper paint from the auto parts store. Now, like I said, I'm not really a big fan, but I am going to be painting my drums and my brake calipers front and rear with POR15 caliper paint. This stuff's supposed to be high heat resistance and a lot more durable than that other stuff that you'd get at your local auto parts store. So I am going to give this a shot. If you haven't seen my other video where I have basically showed the whole process and how to prep and paint POR15, it is going to be the same process as this, except for the only difference with this is that I'm going to be using the caliper paint instead of the POR15 original paint cans. As you can see, I've already had my brake calipers disassembled. It's probably best to remove as much stuff as possible so that when you're coating it, you're not missing any areas. Of course, the brackets I'll be painting as well. Stop. It's hammer time.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up.
Alright, I decided to focus on the drums first. This is going to give me an opportunity to test this out. So, first thing we want to do is degrease it thoroughly. This is full concentrate cleaner and degreaser. So I'm going to dilute it with some water. I'll thoroughly coat both of the drums with degreaser and then let it soak for about 10 to 15 minutes. Spray it off and then probably go again with another degreaser if I feel like it still needs to be cleaned off. After that, then we'll go on to the next step with the metal prep, and then we'll go on to paint. Sorry about the compressor being on. You're gonna use this little mini power washer, is what I like to call it, to clean this off. So the next step what we're gonna do is we're gonna rinse this off after it's been setting for, the degreaser's been setting for about 15 minutes or so. Now that we've rinsed everything off, I'm gonna let this completely air dry out. You don't necessarily have to use the metal prep at this point. You could probably just wait till the air dries out, and then you can just go ahead and paint with the POR15. But I want to make sure that it's gonna adhere to everything. Yes, it will just work just fine over rust. That's what it's designed for. It adheres to rust and any bare metal, then of course it doesn't want to stick to, so then that's when you need the metal prep. Not everything on this drum has surface rust. There are some spots where I think metal prep is necessary to just not like hit certain spots and whatever. I'm just going to coat everything with the metal prep just so I can guarantee I'm not gonna miss any single parts. I mean, I don't want polka dots underneath my truck because there's some parts that weren't metal prepped that needed to be metal prepped. Nah, ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
yeah, metal prep for the win. I will come back when this is all air dried out.
1 hour later.
This has been drying for about an hour or so. It's looking pretty good. I'm pretty impressed. You can see it's already doing some work to the metal. I'm not exactly sure what all is in that degreaser, but it's definitely making it a nice clean surface. Okay, so we're gonna be doing the same thing. We're gonna dilute this metal prep. This is full concentrate, so we're gonna dilute it like a 50-50 ratio. Fill it with water and then fill it the rest with this stuff. It's gonna turn like a purplish color, kinda. Yeah. So the process is gonna be the same as the degreaser. The only difference is that we're going to let this soak for a total of around 20 plus minutes or so. Before you allow it to dry, you're gonna keep on soaking it. Once it hit at least 20 minutes or so, that's when you're gonna let it dry completely. Well, you'll spray it off and then let it dry completely. But during that full 20 minutes at least or so, keep on spraying at it and don't let it dry. Let's get at it. Okay, it's starting to dry up, so now we're gonna go and do a second pass and keep it nice and wet for 20 minutes. Just keep on drenching it with this metal prep and do not allow it to dry. Okay, now all we gotta do is rinse this off and then allow it to dry, and then we'll go back and actually start painting.
1 hour later.
After allowing it to dry for like probably an hour or so, this is the result. You can see that it is like a little bit like white, kind of. You can see on the floor. Totally etched all of the metal that doesn't have rust, and that's what I was going for. This is pretty much what you're looking to expect to see before applying POR15, the actual paint. So this is the POR15 caliper paint. It's in black. I'll be coating the drums with the black caliper paint. They also provide like different colors, I think red and blue and green. I'm not exactly sure what other colors they have. The point of this build is not to enter my truck into SEMA. It's basically gonna be a daily driven truck. It's gonna be heavily driven on the road. I don't need anything flashy. I want something to be maintenance free. All I could do is just spray it off with like a power wash or whatever. So I'm choosing black because I find it easier to hide a lot of dirt and grime. Now that's different when it comes to paint on like the truck of a vehicle, because black is very, very hard to maintain. But for underneath the vehicle, it's a very good way to hide imperfections from a lot of things. So with this paint, you don't want to shake it. You actually just want to stir it thoroughly and then apply it. First, we're going to apply a thin first base coat and then let it dry for 3 to 4 hours. And then we'll apply the second coat, which should give it that metallic mirror-like finish at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and start the process of that right now. Now this is after the first coat, and look at this. This is just It looks good already. I mean, it's still wet. It still hasn't cured yet, but seeing that compared to that, it's just night and day difference. I got most of the coverage, but you can see some imperfections like right here and definitely right here on this side. I kind of missed a spot completely right here. Go! We're gonna go over everything again with the second coat, and then that should just fix everything. So we're gonna apply the second coat and then allow that to set for 24 hours and then before installing it on the vehicle. Okay, so I probably went a little bit too heavy on the second coat, but I really wanted to get as much coverage as possible because this is gonna be probably gonna be my last coat. So I was really focusing on like the heart or the very like bottom areas and just making sure that I've gotten everything, because on my first pass I didn't quite get everything. So this is what the final product looks like for the rear that I have painted. I don't know if you can see that through the rims there. I've drove it for about like maybe a couple days and still it's pretty good. I mean, I haven't seen any chips or flakes, so far so good there. Now I'm going to paint the fronts since I haven't done that yet. And like I said, prep wise, it's going to be the same process as POR15, the original paint cans. A quick rundown on that is you're going to have to degrease it, and then if you have any exposed metal and there's no rust, this one has surface rust and this one has surface rust, so the paint should adhere to both the brake caliper brackets and the brake calipers. If it was just exposed metal, then I would go ahead and use the metal etching chemical solution. I'm not going to repeat the same process, but these are already prepped, so I'm just going to go ahead and paint these up for you. Let's get at it. This time I'm going to be a little bit smarter. I'm going to hang these. Now with these brackets, you just want to make sure that you don't paint where your hardware goes, which is going to be in this groove right here and right here. So you can paint all over the place. And of course not in the threads. I'll just try to hang it in one of these threads and then let it dangle and then just kind of paint around it. Kind of like what I should have done with the caliper in the first place, but we're learning as we go, guys. We got one coated, doesn't look too bad. And then this is what it looked like before, to give you guys an idea. All right, so the brake calipers are finally dry. I put 2 coats like I normally do on all of the POR15 product. So all I gotta do now is just install this back onto the brake caliper bracket. Don't worry about this. I'm gonna resurface and probably change the brakes. That will be in a later video. So let's go ahead and install everything and see how she looks. One down. Check these out, you guys. They turned out pretty good, minty fresh. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering why my wheel well is off, it's because I was trying to get into the hard reach areas for the POR15 on the frame. I'm gonna be touching up everything else when we lift it. So to be continued. I'm really pleased with the results. I mean, it looks amazing, and I can't wait to throw the wheels back on this thing and start driving this thing again. So I'm pretty excited. Before we do anything, I'm gonna have to install that wheel wells on both sides, and then we'll put on the rims, the old rims, not the new ones.
Oh, come on!
That is a wrap for today. I've got both the front and the rear drums with POR15. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Only time will tell if these hold up, so stay tuned, and I will see all of you guys in the next episode. Peace.